if there's a contribution with the Sharks, they could figure out a way how to extend that.
Well, who knows? I mean, hey, as I said at the time, this guy, no one expected this guy to play one NHL game. He's played 900 plus.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell him short.
No, absolutely not. So he was at an event in Vegas, and I believe that trade broke around 10 o'clock our time, which would be 8 there, very early evening, and he's at an event in Vegas, and here's how he let it slip.
What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a line like this of fans waiting to greet them?
It's good to see that they still love me. I'm not going to lie. You guys are actually going to get the first scoops here. They may start hating me pretty soon because I just got traded to the Sharks. So we'll see how that goes over with the fans.
There he was on KTNV television, breaking the news in Fox Sports.
I'll tell you what, that's an impressive lineup of people.
It was.
In midsummer, going to get an autograph of a guy who doesn't even play for your hometown team anymore.
And considering all the other options, all the other entertainment options in that city.
Exactly. You know, like there is quite a bit to do in Vegas.
What do you want to do? A casino show? No, let's go down and see Ryan Reeves.
Go get
Probably
Ryan
going to announce his trade.
Go get Ryan Reeves' autograph on some memorabilia down at the convention center. I don't know, man. I give that town is interesting, man. Every time I've been there for hockey, it surprises me the amount of Golden Knights merchandise you see walking up and down the strip, the amount of Golden Knights paraphernalia you see, and every restaurant's got it behind the bar, every casino's got it somewhere, some kind of acknowledgement that the Golden Knights are important to that town. And I think, there's something to be said for being the first big team there, right? They're, baseball's going to move there. There's rumors basketball's going to get there. Obviously football's there, but hockey was first. The NHL was first. And
you remember the game they played in the parking lot, the Kings and whoever, with the grasshoppers all over the place?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's there's been some crazy moments in hockey history in the Nevada desert. But hey, man, Ryan Reeves is apparently, you can make a check showing up for an appearance in the desert when you don't even play for the team.
Yeah.
How about that?
And announce your trade to San Jose. We're going to play a mini Jerry's. My apologies. I don't like to infringe on anybody else's material, but it is Overdrive, and producer Cam said, got to play mini Jerry's. And I said, so, okay, if you're saying we do, there is a yes guy, no guy in here as well, and that's later on. But I'm going to throw a new game at you. It's called Mini Max.
Okay.
So this is trade deadline. We'll start with the Jays and maybe through the course of the 3 hours get to the Leafs or Raptors. But let's, it's subjective, your list. What's the minimum you could take out of the Jays doing at the deadline? What's the max? What's your dream?
You want me to start with the min?
Yeah.
I'd say the min in my mini max would be, got to be a starter, right? Like they need another arm. You can't pretend, or you can't really hope that Max Scherzer just continues to keep it together at age 40 with the condition he's been in this season, right? With the thumb, and everybody knows that he's had a hard time finishing seasons in the latter part of his career. So as much as you'd love Max Scherzer to be there for you when it matters,
Be nice, but
it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his intensity and his experience and his ferocity would be wonderful to have, and contagious even in that dugout. But and then you think about, you've essentially had 3 tentpole starters all year, right? You've had Rios, Bassett, and Gossman. Those are the 3 guys you can rely on. So you gotta add a big time arm to me. This has got to be a guy that you can count on to extend this rotation and give you more options. Because you'd also love to see Alec Manoah back, and there's plans for that, but you can't plan on it.
yeah, that just doesn't have durability written all over it, does it? I mean, regardless of what you get out of him, you'd consider it a bonus, and you sure wouldn't want to have to depend on it just because. It could ruin his career.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
That's just it. He's coming back off serious stuff, and you gotta let that go at its own pace, and can't be forced. It'd be nice if, he's been pitching these simulated games, and it'd be nice if he could find his way into a real game, come August, which is possible, but to count on him in the biggest moments in September and hopefully October, I'm not sure you can go there. So that's my mini, is just, my minimum would be
One arm.
get an arm that can start and go from there.
So I should have prefaced this. After the All-Star break, the Jays will have 66 games. 14 games will be played going into the trade deadline. So that leaves them after the trade deadline, assuming they do something on July 31st. Maybe they do it before. 52 games in 59 nights. And the other premise is you could look at it and say, well, they'll have clinched the division. I'm not counting on that. I mean, to me, that goes right to the end. So you may get extended on the last week or so of having to overplay, or you might use up a few arms, and you need the durability. So I would agree with you. The minimum for me is actually 2 arms, a starter and a bullpen pitcher. I was watching Steve Phillips on SportsCenter the other night, and he was talking about bringing in a reliever so you could move Hoffman a little deeper in terms of what he has to do, and just set him up better. And because of there's going to be a lot of wear and tear here. I would agree with that. I stayed away from adding a bat because I looked at it when Santander, Varsho, Vladdy, Jimenez. If Vladdy gets to where he should be, and if those other 3 guys are healthy and can contribute at a level they should, maybe you don't need a bat.
Yeah. That would be a big maybe, though, right?
Well, all of this is predicated with how big the lettering is on maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm going to my max, I'm going to want a bat because, Anthony Santander, there's a reason you brought him in, because he was a 44 home run guy a year ago, but he's giving you next to nothing this year, given the injury struggles, and you just have no idea what you're going to get if and when he gets over the injury struggles, right?
Because he wasn't established as a Blue Jay before.
And part of that was he clearly wasn't looking healthy, especially, before they sat him down. Before they sat him down, we were wondering why he was in the lineup, because he just didn't look like himself. And it was clearly an injury-related issue. So that's, that one's a tricky one too. But, I mean, you're not going to be able to have everything, but you do have to feel like there's a desperation here from this front office, right? Like, you hope there's a desperation from this front office, because they're
there should be.
Yeah, they're 9 years in here in the Shapiro-Atkins era and don't have a playoff win to their name. And how much longer can you go?
Well, look, we've already seen 2 press conferences where presidents from the Leafs and Raptors were fired or not renewed, however you want to say that. And so if you're the surviving tandem, you want it to be you next, because...
Take the hint.
Well, if there's disappointment here, I mean, to define disappointment, that would be missing the playoffs.
Well, and you might even say that you got to read the room when it comes to this trade deadline. Like, you wonder, that ownership is very attuned to what's going on in this town right now, because this is a big moment in Toronto sports history, right? Where Rogers Communications, which owned the Blue Jays, has owned the Blue Jays for a long time now, and has been the sole proprietor essentially of the Blue Jays for a long time. Now, essentially controls everything. Controls the Leafs, controls the Raptors, controls every piece of sporting infrastructure in this town, essentially, outside of Larry Tannenbaum's WNBA venture, right?
Yep.
And a few other pieces. But I think there's a sensitivity there. Like, they just lost the popularity contest with Masai Ujiri in watching him walk out the door. There was quite a bit of backlash from that Keith Pelly press conference.
Yep.
Because I'm not sure that Pelly, who in his defense hasn't been in town for the last decade, flew in from England, only been here about a year, even though he's from here. I'm not sure he really read that situation perfectly in terms of the way they let Masai go. Doing it the day after the draft didn't look good. When you had draft picks coming in for a press conference, there's a lot to roll your eyes about with that move. So that one didn't sit well.
No, it was clumsy.
Very clumsy.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Shanna plan went kaput, and we all know how that went. That's understandable that Brendan Shanahan's not back, but again, there's a sour taste around the Maple Leafs.
Okay, so just let me cut in for a second. Is the Shanna plan any different from Shapiro? It's almost the same length of time.
It's on a similar timeline. Yeah, I mean, Shanahan got here a couple years before, but it's a similar timeline, and you could argue that there's been more squandered in Shapiro's era here, because it's not like they haven't won a playoff game. Like, it's not like they haven't really even gotten going. Like, at least the Leafs had a couple of series to their credit under Shanahan, and we all know, look, they came close to getting to an Eastern Final, and if they get to that Eastern Final this year, Jim, not that I don't think any of us think they're a comparable team to the Florida Panthers, but they had a really good chance to upset the Florida Panthers. If they would have done that, I think Shanahan would still be hanging around here. I'm not sure what kind of extension he would have gotten, but I think he would have still been the president of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, but that would have been with a really nice playoff run in his back pocket.
Yeah.
But Shapiro's got nothing of that sort on his resume.
I mean, you could literally apply the logic for both outgoing presidents to the Blue Jay boss.
Exactly.
It'd be no different.
And it would be a very simple explanation for whoever makes the announcement. It's, hey,